All right, so you're getting ready for a shoe repair interview. That's pretty cool. We've got all these resources from RoleCatcher, career guides, and even their AI tools. But for now, let's just focus on nailing the interview questions.
Yeah, it's like having a toolbox for your career. We're going to make sure you're totally ready to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's say you're sitting there with the interviewer.
Yeah.
And they ask you to describe your experience with shoe repair. How do you walk them through it, without just reading off your resume?
Well, that's where storytelling comes in. Instead of just listing everything you've done, try weaving it into a story. Like you could say, my fascination with shoe repair started when I was a kid watching my grandfather fix his old boots. That sparked a passion in me, and I eventually went to a shoe repair school to really learn the craft.
I like that. It shows a real interest in it. What if someone's just starting out, though,
Yeah.
and they don't have that much experience?
Then honesty is key. You can focus on how much you want to learn. And any skills you have that would be helpful. Like maybe you're good with your hands, you pay attention to detail, or you're really into sustainability. Those are all important in shoe repair. You could say something like, I'm new to professional shoe repair, but I've always loved working with my hands and I have a good eye for detail. I'm excited to learn from experienced people and contribute to the craft.
And remember, RoleCatcher's AI can look at job descriptions
Yeah.
and give you feedback so you can tailor your answers to what they're looking for.
Right. It's like having a personal coach getting you ready. Okay, so let's move on. What about this question? What types of tools and equipment are you familiar with?
So here's where you show off what you know about the tools, right? But how do you go beyond just listing them off? How do you really impress them?
Well, you want to show that you understand how to use each tool for specific things. Don't just say stitching pony. You could say, I'm good at using a stitching pony for hand stitching leather, which is important for making strong and good-looking seams.
Yeah, that makes much more sense. It shows you really get it. And if you've used any special equipment, you should definitely mention that too.
Absolutely. Like if you've used a patching machine to fix athletic shoes, that could really help you stand out, especially if the job involves a lot of athletic shoes. You could say, besides the usual tools, I've also worked with a patching machine, which has helped me fix tears and holes in athletic shoes really well and make them last longer.
Okay, let's talk about a question that can be tough. How do you handle difficult customers? We've all had them.
Oh, yeah.
It's not about telling a bad story, though.
Right.
It's about showing how you solve problems and communicate well.
Exactly.
Focus on a time when you handled a tough situation well.
Yeah, give him an example.
So you could say something like, I had a customer once who wasn't happy with the color we used to dye their boots. I listened to them and explained why matching colors can be tricky. And then I offered to dye them again with a different shade that they liked better. They ended up being happy with the solution.
Perfect. You showed that you understand how they feel, that you can communicate clearly, and that you care about making the customer happy. Those are all super important for a shoe repairer.
Now let's talk about a question that really shows your passion for the job. How do you stay up to date with the latest shoe repair techniques and trends? How can you show you're always learning?
Well, you want to show that you're truly interested in this field. You could talk about going to workshops, reading industry magazines like Shoe Repair Digest or Footwear News, or even following online forums where people share tips and techniques.
That shows you're not just happy with what you already know. You want to keep getting better. Okay, speaking of getting better, what about this question? How do you ensure quality in your repairs?
This is your chance to show how much you care about details and how much you want to do a great job. Talk about specific things you do, like really checking each shoe before you start fixing it, using good quality materials, and checking your work carefully as you go.
For example, you could say, I always double-check the stitching to make sure it's strong. I test any new parts to make sure they fit and bend right. And I always polish the shoes so they look their best.
Exactly. You've shown that you care about quality. And any interviewer looking for a skilled shoe repairer will appreciate that.
Okay, let's try a question that tests how well you solve problems.
Yeah.
Can you describe a time when you had to think creatively to solve a difficult problem? I bet every shoe repairer has a few stories like that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. This is your chance to show that you can think outside the box and that you can handle anything. Think about a time when you had to fix something really unusual. Maybe it was a rare type of shoe or some kind of damage that needed a totally new solution.
So you might have had to make a special tool or come up with a whole new way to fix it.
Yeah.
Tell them that story.
It shows you're not afraid to get creative. Like you could say, a customer once brought me a really old handbag with a broken clasp. They didn't make those clasps anymore, so I couldn't find a replacement. So I used my metalworking skills to make a new clasp from scratch. That way, the bag could be used again.
That's amazing. You showed that you're resourceful and skilled, and that you care about giving new life to even the most challenging items. Okay, now let's move on to a question about sharing your knowledge. Have you ever trained or mentored others in shoe repair? Even if you haven't had formal training experience, there are still ways to show that you're willing to teach.
For sure. Think about times when you've helped people with shoe repairs, even just casually. You could say, I haven't had any formal mentoring experience, but I've often helped friends and family fix simple things like replacing worn-out heels or fixing loose straps. I like sharing what I know and helping people make their shoes last longer.
That shows you really care about this craft, and that you're happy to help others learn. Now let's talk about a question that's really important in a busy shop. How do you prioritize your workload when you have multiple repairs to complete?
This is all about being organized and working efficiently. Share your system for managing all those tasks. You could say, I prioritize repairs based on how urgent they are and how complicated they are. So I might start with a quick heel replacement and then move on to something more time-consuming, like resoling. I also try to group similar repairs together to make things easier.
That shows you can stay organized and manage your time well, so you can make sure everything gets done on time and to a high standard. Speaking of high standards, let's talk about customer service. How do you approach customer service in your role as a shoe repairer?
This is where you get to show off your customer service skills. Remember, it's not just about fixing shoes, it's about building relationships. Talk about how important it is to you to make customers happy.
You could say, I believe in treating every customer with respect and understanding. I take the time to listen to what they need, explain the repair process clearly, and make sure they're happy with the results. I also like to go the extra mile, like giving tips on how to care for their shoes and make them last longer.
That's great. You've shown that you understand how important customer satisfaction is, and that you want to build a loyal customer base. Okay, before we wrap up, let's talk about RoleCatcher and their AI tools again.
They can really make a difference. Remember how we talked about tailoring your answers to specific job descriptions? Well, RoleCatcher's AI can look at those descriptions and figure out exactly what skills the employers are looking for.
It's like having a secret code breaker for job applications. The AI can then help you tweak your resume and cover letter to highlight those important skills. That way you'll really stand out.
And don't forget about their mock interview feature. You can practice your answers, get feedback on how you're doing, and even see where you can improve.
It's like having your own personal interview coach. You can practice as much as you need to until you feel completely ready.
So remember, preparing for a shoe repair interview is about more than just knowing how to fix a shoe. It's about showing your passion, your skills, and how much you care about this craft.
It's about understanding the tools and techniques, showing that you can solve problems, and proving that you're dedicated to great customer service.
And it's about using all the resources you have, like RoleCatcher's AI tools, to help you put your best foot forward and get that dream job.
Now let's switch gears for a minute. Let's look at some insights from RoleCatcher's career guide for shoe repairers. One thing that stood out to me was the growing demand for shoe repair services. It seems like it's being driven by things like sustainability and the desire for custom-made shoes.
That's interesting. In a world where everything feels disposable, the shoe repair brings back the idea of craftsmanship
Yeah.
and a commitment to making things last.
I agree. People are becoming more aware of how their choices affect the environment, and they want to reduce waste. Shoe repair fits perfectly with that movement.
It's like being a protector of sustainability, helping people keep their favorite shoes and reduce their impact on the planet.
The career guide also talks about how important it is to specialize in this field. You might want to focus on a specific type of footwear, like athletic shoes or dress shoes, or even restoring vintage shoes.
That makes sense. Becoming an expert in a specific area can help you stand out and attract loyal customers.
Exactly. And don't forget about networking. The career guide suggests going to industry events and connecting with other professionals.
Yeah, that's a great way to stay up to date on trends. Learn from people who have been doing this for a while, and maybe even find a mentor.
Right.
So we've covered a lot today, from mastering those tough interview questions to exploring the bigger picture of the industry.
It's been quite a journey. And you've shown that you're ready to walk into that interview with confidence.
Exactly. Remember, you're not just there to fill a position. You're there to share your passion, your skills, and your dedication to a craft that's both practical and artistic.
It's about taking something worn out
Yeah.
and giving it new life, preserving history and craftsmanship one stitch at a time.
And as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of shoe repair interviews, I'm really struck by the sense of purpose that this career has.
It's more than just a job. It's a way to contribute to a more sustainable future, a way to make a real difference in a world where everything feels disposable.
So as you prepare for that interview, remember to let your enthusiasm shine through. Highlight your skills, your experience, and your dedication to the craft. And don't forget about all the amazing resources that are available to you, like RoleCatcher's AI tools. They can help you fine-tune your approach and land that dream job.
One last thought as you start this journey. Remember, you're not just repairing shoes, you're repairing a connection to quality craftsmanship and a more mindful way of living. You're stepping into a legacy of skill and artistry, and that's something to be truly proud of.
Right.
It's all about figuring things out. You could say something like, this one customer brought me a really old handbag, and the clasp was broken. They didn't make those clasps anymore, so I couldn't find a replacement. So I ended up using my metalworking skills to make a brand new clasp from scratch. That way the bag could be used again.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
You show them you were resourceful and skilled, and that you care about giving things a second life even when it's challenging. All right, let's shift gears to a question about sharing your knowledge. Have you ever trained or mentored others in shoe repair? Even if you haven't had any formal training experience, there are ways to show that you're willing to teach.
Absolutely. Think about times you've helped people with shoe repairs. Even if it was just casual, you could say, I haven't had any formal mentoring experience, but I've always helped friends and family with basic shoe repairs, like replacing worn-out heels or fixing loose straps. I really enjoy sharing what I know and helping people make their shoes last longer.
It shows you're passionate about it and that you like to help others learn. All right, let's talk about a question that's super important in a busy shop. How do you prioritize your workload when you have multiple repairs to complete?
The key here is to be organized and efficient. Talk about how you manage all those tasks. You could say something like, I prioritize repairs based on how urgent they are and how complicated they are. For instance, I might start with a simple heel replacement and then work on something that takes longer, like a resoling. I also like to group similar repairs together to streamline my workflow.
It shows you can handle your time well and stay organized. That way you can make sure all the repairs get done on time and to a high standard. Speaking of high standards, let's address that all-important customer service question. How do you approach customer service in your role as a shoe repairer?
This is your time to shine. It's not just about fixing shoes right. It's about those customer relationships. Show them that you truly care about making people happy.
You could say, I believe in treating every customer with respect and understanding. I always make sure to listen to what they need, explain the repair process, and ensure they're happy with the final results. I also like to go above and beyond, like sharing tips on how to take care of their shoes and make them last longer.
Excellent. You've shown that customer satisfaction is a top priority for you, and that you're all about building a loyal customer base. Now, before we finish up, let's circle back to RoleCatcher and their fantastic AI tools.
Yeah, they can be a game changer. Remember, we talked about tailoring your answers to those specific job descriptions. Well, RoleCatcher's AI can analyze those descriptions and pinpoint the exact skills those employers are after.
It's like having a secret weapon for your job hunt. The AI can then help you optimize your resume and cover letter to really highlight those skills, so you'll stand out from the crowd.
And don't forget about their mock interview feature. You can practice your answers, get feedback on how you're doing, and even pinpoint areas for improvement.
It's like having a personal interview coach right in your pocket. You can practice as much as you need to until you feel completely prepared and confident.
So remember, preparing for a shoe repair interview goes beyond just knowing how to fix shoes. It's about showcasing your passion, your skills, and your dedication to this craft.
You got it. It's about understanding those tools and techniques, showing you're a problem solver, and highlighting your dedication to top-notch customer service.
And don't forget to leverage all the resources out there, like RoleCatcher's AI tools. They can help you put your best foot forward and snag that dream job.
Now let's change gears for a sec and tap into RoleCatcher's career guide for shoe repairers. Something that really jumped out at me was the rising demand for shoe repair services. It looks like it's fueled by things like sustainability and the desire for custom-made footwear.
That's fascinating, isn't it? In a world where everything feels disposable, the shoe repair brings back a sense of craftsmanship. It's like a commitment to making things last.
Absolutely. People are more aware of their environmental impact, and they're looking for ways to reduce waste. Shoe repair fits right into that movement.
It's like being a guardian of sustainability. helping people keep their favorite shoes around and lessen their environmental footprint.
The career guide also emphasizes specializing in this field. You might choose to focus on a particular type of shoe, like athletic shoes or dress shoes, or even specialize in restoring vintage footwear.
I see your point. Building expertise in a niche area can really help you stand out and build a loyal customer base.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of networking. The career guide suggests attending industry events and connecting with other professionals in the field.
That's a great way to stay current on trends, learn from seasoned shoe repairers, and maybe even find a mentor.
Right.
So we've covered a lot of ground today, from mastering those tricky interview questions to getting a broader perspective on the industry.
It's been quite a journey, and you've proven that you're ready to walk into that interview with confidence.
Absolutely. Remember, you're not just there to fill a role. You're there to share your passion, your skills, and your dedication to a craft that's both practical and artistic.
You're taking something worn and giving it a new lease on life. It's about preserving history and craftsmanship one stitch at a time.
As we wrap up this deep dive into the world of shoe repair interviews, I'm really struck by the sense of purpose that this career embodies.
It's more than just a job. It's contributing to a more sustainable world, a way to make a real difference when so much feels disposable.
As you get ready for that interview, remember to let your enthusiasm shine. Highlight those skills, your experience, and your dedication to this craft. And don't forget all those incredible resources out there, like RoleCatcher's AI tools. They can help you refine your approach and land your dream job.
One last thought for you as you embark on this journey. Remember, you're not just fixing shoes. You're repairing a connection to quality craftsmanship and a more mindful way of life. You're joining a legacy of skill and artistry. And that's something to be truly proud of.
Right. And it also mentions how important it is to build those connections, go to industry events and meet other people in the field.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's a great way to stay updated on all the trends, learn from people who have been doing this for a while, and maybe even find a mentor.
Exactly.
So we've talked about a lot today, from nailing those tough interview questions to getting a bigger picture view of the industry.
It's been quite a journey.
Yeah, and you've really shown that you're ready to walk into that interview with confidence.
You got it.
And remember, you're not just there to fill a spot, You're there to share your passion and your skills and your dedication to a craft that's both practical and artistic.
Absolutely. It's about taking something worn and giving it new life, breathing new life into it.
Right. Preserving history and craftsmanship.
One stitch at a time. Yeah. And as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of shoe repair interviews, I'm really struck by how much purpose this career has.
It's more than just a job.
Yeah.
It's a way to contribute to a more sustainable future, a way to make a real difference in a world where so much feels disposable.
That's a good point. So as you prepare for that interview, remember to let your enthusiasm show. Highlight your skills, your experience, and how much you care about this craft. And don't forget about all those amazing resources out there like RoleCatcher's AI tools. They can help you really fine-tune your approach and get that dream job.
One last thought for you as you start this journey. Remember, you're not just repairing shoes, you're repairing a connection to quality craftsmanship and a more mindful way of life. You're becoming part of a legacy of skill and artistry, and that's something to be incredibly proud of.